Hello Valerie, welcome to our project. It's called My Song, My Time. Nice to meet you today, and my name is Vanessa.
Oh, thank you very much, Vanessa. I'm happy to be in your project and that you're talking to me now.
First question is, what is Ngonso?
Ngonso is, as the person, is the founder of the Nso dynasty, and this is an ethnic group that is found in the western part of Cameroon, particularly called the northwest region of Cameroon, called the Nso people. And as the Ngonso, the figure in discussion is the effigy or the figurine that represents this woman, Ngonso, who founded the Nso kingdom. And this effigy was taken from Cameroon many years ago, about 100 and something years ago, and it is residing in Humboldt Forum in Berlin.
Why are the artifacts brought here in Germany?
It was part of the colonial conquest in the 19th century or the 18th century that when the Germans or the English people or the French people annexed a territory or colonized a people, they looted lots of artifacts, lots of cultural goods that had high place value for them, that they looked and they were like, okay, these things look beautiful, or these things represent a certain level of power and identity of these people, or this thing is valuable to these people. They robbed them of these things and brought to their museums abroad. Ngonso was one of such. The Mandu Yeni throne from Cameroon was one of such. The Benin bronzes that are located in different parts of Europe were one of such. So it was part of this big looting that took place during the European colonial project of Africa.
Thank you for answering my question. I will invite Cynthia to continue the discussion.
Hallo Valerie, ich danke dir, dass du dir heute die Zeit genommen hast, zu meinem Song My Time gekommen bist. Meine Kollegin Vanessa hat sich schon vorgestellt für mich. Ich bin Cynthia und möchte dir vorab Fragen stellen. Die Fragen werde ich dir auf Englisch stellen, da die anderen Personen, die das ansehen werden, es vielleicht verstehen werden. Since when is the museum existing in Germany?
Oh, you mean the Humboldt Forum?
Yeah.
I cannot exactly tell you, but I know that the Humboldt Forum just opened its doors again this year for people to be able to come and visit, but it belongs to the whole collection of Prussian museum collection, which are located so much in Germany, and they are very historic. But the Humboldt Forum is newly constructed and it just opened again this year to the public.
How did Ngonso come to Germany?
In the year 1902, a German colonial soldier called Kurt von Pavel led the German expedition to the grass fields of Cameroon. And during his visit with his soldiers to Nso, which is found in the West Cameroon, quite in the hinterlands, he acquired Ngonso. It is said that this was when the Germans raided the Nso palace and burned down the palace and then took away the valuables. Ngonso was one of them. There were many others. Later on, when he brought the Ngonso to Germany that year, he wrote that it was not acquired through any violent means, that it was a gift and all of that. But when you think about the fact that he's the same person who was causing violence on the Nso people, who was killing a lot of them with his soldiers and burning the palace, you cannot always agree with this thing which he said.
Ich möchte mich bedanken, Valerie, dass du dir heute die Zeit genommen hast. Nun kommt meine Kollegin Mary mit den nächsten Fragen.
Hello, Valerie. My name is Mary. We have reached the last part of the interview. I will have some questions for you. Why are the things in the museum but not in Africa?
I think they are still here because the German government, the Prussian Foundation, and all the stakeholders on the German side of this equation, they are so reluctant. They lack the will. They don't have the will to give it back to us because they still want to have this in their museums. They're still having this colonial nostalgia, like they still wish that they could continue keeping these things, and keeping them is a form of way of saying that, okay, the things that are most important to you Africans are in our keeping. This means that we still have the center of your life, we still have your identity. Because most of the things that are in the museum, for instance, are not cultural artifacts. These are things with spiritual significance, with deitic values, like things that are little representations of gods and goddesses of the African identity, of the various ethnic groups and things like this. And so when they keep them, it represents this great conquest, the German conqueror heritage of the 1900s, of the 1800s. And sad as it sounds, this is what someone like me, who is African, whose ancestors suffered from German oppression, feels like. You know, because if it was not like this, if they don't have this relief, if they don't have this feeling, they would have given these back. Secondly, these things also generate a lot of finances in museums where they are kept. It's true that when I speak to a lot of Germans, they claim, no, the museums don't give money. The government spends so much time subsidizing museums because they want to keep. But why are you using your money to keep our artifacts here? Why not give them back to us, you know? And so it's a very ping-pong question, and no one can really answer. Why are the things truly in Germany? It would be good to ask that question to German authorities as well. Like, ask them, why are you still keeping these things here?
Why does the German government doesn't want to give the things back?
Colonial nostalgia, gains that they make from keeping these things. You know, sometimes they claim that the thing is, we're keeping them because you cannot take care of them, you Africans. And that's always the most ridiculous questions. Like, hello, we made these things. How can you say we don't know how to keep them? Like, it's always so funny when you have that response. But it's also important to note that gradually minds are changing. Many more Germans are also involved in saying that, okay, we think that the just thing to do is to give them back. But unfortunately, those who are saying this are not the people in power. The people who have German power are mostly still having a lot of colonial nostalgia, still want to exploit these things for financial gains, still want to keep the oppression of Africans through capturing their identity in German museums.
Do you think restitution of all these artifacts are possible?
Before you give back, you must acknowledge that you stole the things, and then you give them back. So restitution is not just possible, it is absolutely necessary. Restitution is the most right thing to do. It is the most just thing to do. It is the most fair thing to do. And it doesn't begin at ending and end at restitution. Restitution is just the first phase towards processing the past, towards reconciling the past, towards paving a new way in which Africans should relate to Europe. If you stole my stuff 100 years ago, the first thing that you have to do for us to begin discussing how we want to be friends in future is for you to give the things you stole back. That's the first thing, because that's what it was. The Germans raided African countries and stole a lot of stuff from them. Young people of African heritage like you are beginning to ask these questions. This means that the flame is burning, and if Germany as a country is not held accountable today, tomorrow young voices like yours are going to rise against the German government until they will restitute what is African, what is ours.
I'm very thankful for the day. It was nice to have you here, and I'm very thankful that you took your time to be here with us, and see you next time.